All right, hey guys, it is Sunday, the 20 what? It's a good question. 27th, last weekend of September. So I have a collab going between Dave at Big Dawg Brewing and myself, Woodshed Brewing. So this is the recipe we came up with. So we're going to do an Oktoberfest, a Marzen. And I think you can see all the stuff that's in there. So it's a 5-gallon batch. I've got my specialty grains over here where I'm using Mecca grade. I used that in the malt experiment and thought that turned out really well. The rest of the base and some of the Munich I already had on hand is right there. So I'm getting ready to get my grains crushed and get the water, sparge water started. I'm going to try something different today. So in my past brews, everything's been in this, so it's been a all-in-one. One of the issues I run into is with a 5-gallon batch, and that's a 10-gallon kettle, I start to run into maxing out what I can do in that kettle, and I can't recirculate much more than, this has got a little gallons per minute indicator on it, like a sight glass. I can't go too much more over, half gallon to a gallon, otherwise it starts to overfill this. I've got a brew bag in there, and it's not draining out of the brew bag down through and up through into that system quick enough, and it starts to fill up the top too much. So what I decided to do, just for today, I'm going to test it out and see. I'm going to use my old mash tun. So I've installed my, let me go to the other side so I can show you. Basically, it's a kind of a PIV type of system, so it's a sprayer. So I've installed the sprayer with my top here, so I'm going to then be able to recirculate into this, so it'll come up through, I'll pump it up through the system here into the mash tun, and then I have the ability to gravity feed from there out into the top here into the kettle, and at that point it comes out through the kettle and it'll come back down through the system, and then I can check the temperature here, and that system will turn it on and turn it off to keep my my mash temps where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to give it a shot. I've got a collab coming up with Matt at Rex Brewing, and looking at that, at least the preliminary recipe, we're looking at somewhere in the range, and I'm going from memory, 15 to 17 pounds of base grains, and that'll put me over the top. I won't be able to do it in this. So this is the best thing I can come up with. I do have another pump right now. It's a March pump. I'm using my Riptide. So if you're looking at this going, why you're using gravity when you have another pump, I don't have another set of valves, so something like that I could throttle that pump. The Riptide, which is really nice, it's got the ability, you can throttle right on the right hand side right there. You can throttle depending on what you want to do, or if you had a gate valve. So I typically just use that and throttle my pump to whatever gallons per minute that I'm looking for. So at some point here in the future, what I think I'm going to do, I know it'd be more money, but it would probably make more sense just to buy a new kettle, get to like a 15-gallon kettle, and I wouldn't have a problem. I can go back to an all-in-one. I like having the all-in-one because it's nice in terms of not having to clean up the mash tun and that type of thing and having another piece of equipment to have to clean. But I'm going to try this today and see if it kind of basically kick the can down the road a little ways before I have money to buy a new kettle. And that's an aluminum one. I wouldn't mind going stainless steel, but again, when you get into it the first time in, you're basically trying to save money to get to a point that you can actually do all grain and brew. So I'm upgrading piece by piece as we go along. So this is kind of a cobbled together system, and I'm obviously trying to create some height here. I have a couple of benches that I use outside around my fire pit that are pretty sturdy. So I'm going to try that today and see how it works. So I'll take you guys along with it and see if it's a complete screw up and a mess. You'll know that, and if it turns out okay, you'll know that as well. So hopefully it's not a complete screw up and a mess. Maybe we can come up with something that's fairly close. Dave got his brew done yesterday. We ordered our grains from Northern Brewer, and I was a little late to the game getting my stuff done, so it ended up showing up yesterday afternoon, and he was brewing yesterday morning. So we're not doing a Zoom together as we do this. So he finished his is fermenting as we speak now. Again, it's about midday on Sunday, so getting to 1 o'clock, so throw the game on, go Bills, and get a brew day going. So I'll catch up with you guys here probably as we're mashing in. All right, let's launch it, gents. All right, guys, so we are mashing in. So I'm draining from my mash tun into the kettle, out of the kettle, up through the pump. That way the system can check the temperature, and then coming back in basically dripping it through. I don't have quite enough volume for it to really keep that going, so basically what I'm doing is using my drill, and I just spin it up and kind of keep mixing it up as I go along. So right now it looks like this is working, especially for any of my beers that are going to be a little bit on the bigger side. You know, anything that I'm going to be, probably 1060, this is a 1065, 1066 OG, I believe. So anything that's 1065 and above, having that amount of grains, I can't get into just a 10-gallon kettle. So my typical 1040, 1050 beers should be fine, but this I think will work for me for just now, and that's a decent fix for the situations. Like I said, I've got a collab coming on here with Matt, coming up with Matt soon. So it's got a ton of grains in it, so it's a big beer. So far, so good. Good brew day. Bills are winning 14-0, so can't complain about it at all. All right, guys, I'll catch you as we start to get to the end of the mash. All right, guys, so we got everything drained off from the mash. We are in the kettle. I am just draining what's left of the wort out of the mash bag. One of the things I really enjoy about this is actually having the bag makes cleanup so much easier. I can just let it drain out, whatever's left of the wort in there, pour in the kettle just before the boil starts, then take that whole bag, throw it in the compost, rinse it off. Much easier to clean out the mash tun. Makes life a lot easier to be able to go through that. So give you a quick update in terms of where we're at. So we had a 5.4 pH, 1.054 pre-boil gravity. Dave had a 1055 yesterday. So we are aiming for a 1065 final gravity, or starting gravity after the boil. We have 2 ounces of hops going in, so it calls for 1 ounce of Tradition at 60 and 1 ounce of Tettnang at 20, and then German lager yeast. Dave used WLP 830. I'm using the dry ale 3470. So it's still the, I'm trying to think of the German name for the strain. I'll come up with it. I gotta look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, all right. So see if we can't catch some hop drops here. We're probably about 10 minutes away from the boil getting started. So get through hot break and we'll check back in. All right, guys. So we are down to 20 minutes left. So this is Tettnang at 20. So that'll be the last one, and then we gotta get the chiller in and get that going. I'll show you what I do with the chilling. I think I've shown it once before in a video, but I'll show it one more time. So color is awfully nice on this beer so far. 1057, I just ended up checking the gravity. Let the wort chill down to 70 degrees and had the hydrometer. So 1057. So within a couple points of where Dave was after the correction for temperature. So all right, guys, see ya. All right, guys, so the alarm just went off, so start my chilling here. So let me plug it in and I'll show you what I do. So get my finger out of the way on the camera. Sorry about that. I'm an idiot. All right, so plug it in. So my pool right now is sitting at 72 degrees. So we're late September. I leave it open quite a bit just because at this point it's a water feature. I can come out here and sit and have a beer by it. So what I've got is a pond pump sitting there, and then actually I forgot to put this in, so it takes a minute. It's just starting to come through. So then I pump the water back into the pool. So basically hose into the brewery, hose back out, pumps it back in. So I'm using 72 degree water, and goes into my immersion chiller, and then I've got my pump running inside. So we'll see what we're down to. So that was, what, just over a minute or so. And we're already down to 196 from boiling temp. So I've got the, hold on for a second, there we go. This is a whirlpool arm right here. So coming down through, so I'm running it through my pump, spins it around. So basically out of the kettle through the pump, up through the sight glass, in through, and then back out through my Whirlpool arm there. And then that's my immersion chiller. That's just a homemade immersion chiller, just with copper you can get at Home Depot. And what I did is I just cut off supply lines you'd get for your washer, and then a couple of hoses. And I'm dripping here. I need a new washer on one of these guys. I'm making a mess out here, but it's nice about working out in the shop. You don't have to worry about that. So we are already down to 182. So that's about 2 minutes. It's dropped from 212, 210, I think is what I boil at here at this altitude. And 2 minutes and 15 seconds what it's got on the phone right now, down to 179. So we'll see how long it takes to get down to that 70s. I'll probably put it in the fermenter in the 72, 73 range. It's dry yeast. I'm going to pitch on top of it, so it'll help rehydrate it, and then I'll put it in the firm chamber, which is right there. And I think I'm going to ferment it at low 60s range, probably mid 60s, a little lower than 68. All right, we'll come back when we're getting ready to put in the fermenter and pitch some yeast. All right, guys, so this is my firm chamber, sitting at 62. So we are Wednesday after I brewed on Sunday. So we're in pretty good bubbles coming out. So pretty good fermentation, nice krausen on top. So just waiting on that to finish up now. So all right, I think I'm going to try to get the video out for Homebrew Wednesday, and we will get a tasting at some point here in the next couple of weeks when Dave's is finished. His is already down to 10:15. He showed me this morning, so 4 days and he's at 10:15. So all right, guys, hope you all had a great week. Sla'inte.